In these unprecedented times, the pandemic can cause people to act scared and anxious. Those who were employed are now laid off. Big-time restaurant owners in inner communities have lost money in sales. Everyone is experiencing some sort of loss, but the least we can do is shine a light on those who still need help. Spotted everywhere around the city are huge chain restaurants such as McDonald's and Popeyes. In comparison to family-owned restaurants, these businesses have not been as primarily affected. So what can we do as people of Toronto to support and uplift those in need? You don't have to spend a lot or even much at all to support small businesses in the city, and right now, they can use as much love as they can get. Arvi and Tanya are the owners of the Iron Way Pro Meals. What is the Iron Way Pro Meals, you may ask? In a recent interview with Say News, they share their experiences as small business owners.
Our actual slogan is a flavor without compromise. So basically, the meals, we wanted to have very simple approach into nutrition, but at the same time, it's palatable, where you can get your simple ingredients, very simple, and you can taste every single ingredients in the actual meal prep without having to add all the extra stuff into it. Our meals are catered towards lifestylers, people that are busy, like the moms that are, the 9 to 5 people that are in the office. It's pretty much the same ingredients, but every week we switch the flavor so it keeps it interesting and keeps it fresh.
Like, it's important, especially during these times, to support small businesses because they're the ones that are feeding their families. Like, these small businesses are not just putting money towards other staff members, which it is, but also towards like a specific family. So I think supporting small businesses is also supporting families.
It's a good way to like showcase talents for Toronto. It's very diverse here, and then in terms of like culinary, like what we have as a meal prep, it gives us that platform to actually showcase our talent and give us an opportunity to actually, shine a little bit. And yeah, it's just like what she said, that small businesses are, it's our need, our way of like living for a small family.
A massive 58% of all food produced in Canada, 35.5 million tons to be exact, is lost or wasted, and about a third of that wasted food could be reused and sent to communities in need across the country. The Food Service Canada study finds that processing contributes 34% of waste, followed by production of 24%, manufacturing at 13%, retail at 4%, and distribution at 2%. Hotels, restaurants, and institutions contribute 9% of the total waste. Households, meanwhile, produce just 14% of the total.
We have a very good understanding of, how the meals work in terms of sustainability. Obviously, certain, like what she's saying, certain type of people would have different needs. Like an athlete would be more specific about what they want to eat in terms of like their calories and how it's breaking down. To someone that is brand new, it's pretty much open, but we help them in a way where they can simplify a meal plan for them that is approachable in terms of their lifestyle, their personality.
In regards to food waste, I mean, we're very fortunate that we don't actually have a lot of it, and that's for two reasons. The first reason is because we purchase the food items based off the orders that are already processed, right? So we get the list of orders, we can see right off the bat, like, okay, we only need enough food for 50 chicken meals, right? So we purchase specifically for that.
Alongside Arvi and Tanya is Ryan Lacorte, the sous chef of the Iron Way Pro Meals.
Every week we try to change our menu for our clients to ensure that we're giving them different meals. We're currently working in the kitchen at their apartment, because of COVID. Prior to this, we were actually working in a rented.
According to the City of Toronto, approximately 100,000 tons of food waste, avoidable and unavoidable, is generated annually. The average single-family household throws away over 200 kilograms of food waste per year. There are nearly 97,000 restaurants, bars, and caterers in Canada. The restaurant industry directly employs more than 1.2 million people. Globally, about 1/3 of all the food produced is wasted. In Canada, this amount is closer to 40%, of which nearly half, 47%, is from consumers. High levels of food waste negatively impact the environment, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions, nutrition loss, and the inefficient use of resources for food production.
We only waste about like 5% of our food because being that we're a small business, we don't handle the same amount of mass as a restaurant would. We know the exact amount of orders that we have each week. So based on that, we do our groceries to ensure that we purchase the amount we need, plus any extra for any burns, spills, stuff like that. Stuff that happens in the kitchen. So from the 5% that I mentioned earlier, that would include mostly any like spills or burns or mishap that happen in the kitchen, because we purchase the amount of groceries that we need and the amount that is bought is for each client.
Ryan is a former Screenline lead cook at Joey's. With several experiences at hand, he was able to witness the behind the scenes of what happens in a busy restaurant kitchen. The food left over caused by overproduction is thrown out at the end of every shift. This policy is commonly seen in most big box restaurants.
Large restaurants contributing to large masses of food waste. I think there can be a better solution to that. Previously, I've worked at Joey's, a restaurant downtown, and at the end of the night, the employees were not allowed to take home any food, and all the excess food, which is usually in large amounts because Joey's is quite a busy restaurant, would all be thrown out. Joey's was actually my first experience working in a restaurant, and seeing that, I was baffled. I thought to myself, oh, all this food and all of it is going to waste.
So what are the advantages of a small-owned business?
A lot of times, actually, because it is a small business, we have the flexibility to do what we want with it. And a lot of times we as a family will eat the same food. So we are also covered as a family to make sure that our kids are eating healthy foods. And then we also provide meals to our staff members.
This is what makes the Iron Way Pro Meal so unique. With such a talented group of workers, the team is able to save food in many ways.
So people who work with us are also able to take some food home with their families. So we are very fortunate as a small business that we don't have very much food waste. If there is, usually sometimes a little bit of the vegetable might go a little sooner, right? For example, then we do put it in the compost and we dispose of it that way.
We don't usually have an extreme excess amount. So being that members of our team are athletes and advocates for nutrition, we eat the food ourselves. So at times we'll have excess chicken, we'll bag it, I'll take it home to give to my family. Personally, if we were to have excess orders, like in my previous experience working at another restaurant, we had mass amounts of excess food, and at the end of the night, they would just throw it out. We weren't even allowed to take home any of the extra food. I personally think that that extra food could be perhaps, shared with homeless shelters, places like that, especially since the restaurant I was working at was in the core of the downtown area.
We're not like a large scale like McDonald's, obviously, but you're right about keeping it in mind about the food waste. We're very actually fortunate that we don't get much because we eat whatever the leftovers are, and what's a better way to to support your own product and service.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I've lost a lot of weight eating our meals. It's been great for me.
It's amazing. It's two birds in one stone, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's perfect.
The Iron Way may be small, but that is what allows them to stay consistently sustainable. From making sure all groceries are accurately ordered to repurposing all the leftover food production, Arvi and Tanya ensure they aren't wasting food.
We have very minimal food waste is because we know ahead of time how many food items we have to make. As a small business, it's easier for us to target and be a little bit more accurate with the amount of food that we're going to be making comparing to a large business scale.
Food waste also affects us financially,
yeah.
Right? Because this is like our own money going into what we're purchasing, we are super mindful to avoid the overspending in the food. And we really don't like to waste. We really don't like to waste food. Like, we legit eat our food all week long. If we have it, we eat it, right?
Yeah.
So one thing for us is we don't want to have an impact where we are filling up landfills with food or with garbage or with any of those things, right? That's the long-term effect that we understand that's happening, especially in a large city like Toronto. So not only is it affecting us financially, but it would be affecting us in regards to landfills are filling up, and we don't want to be a part of that.
Sorry, do you mind just repeating the last sentence you stated? It kind of cut off because of the Wi-Fi, I'm assuming.
That's okay. I just said that not only do we want to avoid it affecting us financially, but we don't want to have us be a part of it affecting the environment as well. And we are very fortunate to be in a position in a small company where we don't have that. The first thing is making sure that our orders are accurate. The more accurate we have our orders down, the lower the possibility it is for food waste. The second thing that we do currently is we use reusable or multi-use cooking supplies, right? So for example, we're never using the aluminum trays or anything like that. We're using things like industrial kitchen items. So that avoids any single-use items. The containers that we currently use are multi-use, reusable, microwavable containers. So that's another thing that we had to make sure of. And the last thing is also making sure that not just the food bins, but also recycling items as well get placed in the proper proper containers. For me, when you're paying staff like minimum wage, and then you're throwing all the food away at the end of the day, I can guarantee you a lot of these people, this is a full-time job for some of these people who are trying to feed and support their families. I wouldn't recommend somebody eating McDonald's all the time, but a place like Joey's or other larger chain restaurants who are throwing food away at the end of the day, that's just mind-boggling to me to know that you're not even willing to offer it to some of the families that are currently working with you.
Supporting a business, providing clean eats, and is sustainable throughout the whole process is vital in today's day and age. With the numbers only rising, Toronto can't afford any more food waste. For Say News, I'm Lorraine Soto.